Hello, dear Aquarius. I am Jamie Dawn, your revolutionary astrologer, bringing you your November 2021 horoscope. And we have a 10th and 11th house emphasis. I just want to point out, Scorpio season right now is not easy for you. I get it. This year has not been easy, but it's going to pay off. And the reason I say that is that you've got this natural square happening with the 10th, 1st, 4th, 7th house, and all these planets being active in these signs with Jupiter and Saturn right now in your sign squaring off, right, with Scorpio. Now, I'm placing your Aquarius sun, moon, or rising sign on that first house. So this gives you that 10th house of career, your status, the way you show up in the world. Also, it's considered the house of success or failure. And you're being forced to really fight for what it is that you want to achieve or accomplish right now in your life. And many of you are seen as someone who may take yourself seriously. You may take the work you do seriously. And you may take the things in which you do as maybe an over-identification at times. Now, I will tell you too, that the intensity of this month is going to dissipate as we move into Sagittarius season, but you've got to get through the initial transformative time that's here, because what the gift is it will allow you to know that you are truly a powerful human being. I was saying to a very sweet dear friend that if we really knew how powerful we were, we would never question ourselves again. And I think that's what's going to be supplied to you as you get through this month. You've got to go through the new moon on November 4th, which is in opposition to Uranus, also squaring off to Saturn. And so this gives a little bit of tension around your 10th, 1st, 4th, 7th houses. In particular, you may be a little frustrated when it comes to how you show up at work, or maybe there's something happening in your public life that you just have to deal with. And that doesn't always feel great. Maybe you're not seen the way that you want to be seen. Now, of course, we know that relationship is up for everybody. So I'll point to this. Some of you Aquarians may be dealing with personal relationship more than just, the professional one. And so if there's tension in that personal relationship, you may find at this new moon that you need to communicate with them that says, hey, in order for me to really show up, in order to feel really good here, because remember, we're looking at the 10th house is the fruit that you bear, and the 4th house, so that's the opposition, and you've got Uranus there. This 4th house is about home and belonging and the past, right? And so you're saying, hey, let's revisit some of this past. Let's really look at it. And things can come up suddenly with Uranus involved. But if anybody understands that, you do. It's your ruler. And so it may be, hey, I've got this new opportunity that I want to take on, in my business life or in my personal life that will allow me to feel more secure at my home life. And some of you may be moving. Some of you may be receiving news about a new job opportunity that gives you a chance to have that status where you get to be seen as the expert in a very deeply intense field. Some of you with this Scorpio in that 10th house do work in, say, the psychological realm, or you work with investigations or research or something that allows you to get really penetrating into the world. You may also be seen as someone who can be very penetrating, and in doing so, it can be a little unnerving sometimes for people, and you can question them. So do watch for that, but also watch how you may question yourself in a way that could develop some negative self-talk. We don't want that, because remember, everybody has value, and you do. Venus, speaking of values, is moving into Capricorn, activating that 12th house of yours. 12th house is that hidden subconscious mind. It's also the unity consciousness. It's the house of sacrifice, but it's also the house of great compassion and service. And it has the emphasis here with Venus in Capricorn that you may find yourself having a lot of conversations behind the scenes that bring value into your everyday life, into the subconscious mind. It can stir up maybe some things inside of you that says, in order for me to achieve the next level in my life, what is it that I value most? And you may be taking it really seriously. There may be some spiritual aspects that show up for you that you can maybe take a course that lets you do some really deep soul work. You may have to take time out of work or maybe ask for a leave of absence so that you can pursue these more meaningful things that will, in the long term, help you. Now, we also, because Venus works with relationships, it could be that you find yourself in a very serious conversation or a very serious relationship that is still somewhat hidden, or it's still behind the scenes, if you will, with that 12th house, private. It also may activate that you are working with an institution or you're working with an addiction, because we are dealing with that 12th house, that you have the opportunities with Venus here to attract something that can support you. So if you are working through a difficult time, mentally, emotionally, that sort of thing, you can find the resources that you need in order to heal. And granted, it will probably take some time, but just know it's going to be worth it in the long run. Now, Mercury enters Scorpio just after Venus. So Venus enters Capricorn November 5th, Mercury enters Scorpio November 6th. So further emphasis on your 10th house. I sense that you'll get some news here about a particular status or a particular thing that you've been working towards. And this can give you a chance to hopefully feel a little more secure, because our mind is so powerful. And if anybody understands that, I know it's you, Aquarius. And so with Mercury here, you're going to have some real serious conversations that you can maybe use as great benefit to others, right? You can be seen as a teacher, or your expertise is going to be sought out, and that you can communicate what you've learned through this deep transformation. And it allows others to feel safe with you. I think the other emphasis here is that you may be working with some trust issues within yourself. Can I trust that I've done the work, that people will take me seriously, and that I can be the expert that I feel I am in this particular subject matter? You may have to do some research around it. And some of you Aquarians may decide to take a course or go back to school during this time, one that may be a little bit off topic or taboo. And if that's the case, do so because it energizes you, because that's what is in alignment with your truth. Now, we have Mars and Mercury canoodling and squaring off with Saturn and the moon. That happens on November 10th. So the energy leading up to this is going to create some tension of the mind, most likely, and also the emotions. And this is your 10th and first house square, of course. And so it may cause you to feel like, okay, I have this opportunity, but can I really fulfill it? Let's say you're doing a presentation. It's like, oh, will I really show up and present well? Here's the trick. Keep the bigger picture in mind. Let the lower self or the ego take the back seat and say, my ego is making the impression or the expression of the bigger picture. And that's something you can do really well. And you may find yourself, especially with Mars and Mercury canoodling, that you're very confident, you're very strong, you're very forceful, what you're communicating actually relates to the audience, and they can form this emotional bond and they trust you. And I think that's the thing, is that you may find yourself in some self-doubt of like, what if I'm wrong? What if I say something, I present something, or I share something and I get rejected, or they find out? I will say imposter syndrome may kick in during this time. Give yourself permission to come back to what you do really well, list your accomplishments, read them, and remember, we're all playing a role You're playing a role. And if your intention is to be of great benefit, then just enjoy the process, right? You're not going to harm somebody if your intention is to be of benefit. Let's talk about personal relationship for a second, because 10th house isn't so much about personal. This is where we're getting into the social houses. It's where you're showing up in the world. However, we do know that all of us enjoy connecting with others, relational beings. So if there has been some tension, if there has been some worries or fears or struggles in the personal relationship sector, say romance in particular, we have a partial lunar eclipse, November 19th, 18th, 19th. This is emphasizing your 10th and 4th house. This may allow you to see that as you show up, you can easily attract if you're single, a partnership that lets you feel really rooted, that lets you feel as though you've got some stability at home. And that if there has been something, a belief system, a negative self-talk, maybe you've been resistant to getting out of your house and actually meeting somebody, you may decide to let that go and put yourself out there. And then you can connect with this beautiful human being that is going to come into your life and enjoy the process. Now, also, I will say with the eclipse being in this 4th house for you and 10th house, it may be that you let go of something private and you announce something in public. It could be also home, that you are actually moving homes during this time, and it allows you to have a greater footprint in the world. Or you start researching, where do you really want to be? And that you may start saving money or working, if you're partnered, you and your partner work together to establish a plan to be able to accomplish the move that may be happening next year. Yeah, you start saving, or maybe there's some renovations. This is all about home, family rootedness. And with it being an eclipse, it's more intense. Now, I will say eclipses, and with all the emotional energy that Scorpio can bring, is that this could be a bit of a emotional time if you're in a toxic relationship, if you're feeling like even the place in which you're living, residing, or maybe there's some old ancestral wounding that has taken shape. It could be very intense where you're just like, that's it, I'm done, I'm out of here. And sometimes we have to transition out of something in order to find something greater, right? And that is the ebbs and flows of life. However, I will say, Aquarius, I feel like this month has more emphasis on you and the way you show up in the world than it does necessarily on maybe letting go of a particular relationship. Could happen. There's a few of you that may happen. I will say that after this lunar eclipse, the sun moves into Sagittarius, Mercury into Sagittarius, activating your 11th house, making a natural sextile to your 1st house. And then Venus sextiles Mars towards the end of the month, further activating that 11th and 1st house. That gives you the opportunity to be able to maybe have some freedom within a group or with friends, or connecting, let's say, with a lover or a beloved, that you guys get to have some adventure, opportunity, and open-mindedness. You may find yourself traveling so that you can see each other if you're in a long distance relationship, or you've been separated and apart for a while. This is an opportunity to come back together. And I will also say that some of you Aquarians, towards the end of November, will find that your partnership energizes you in a way that gives you great hope, and it can help fulfill your wishes in that 11th house. And of course, the cosmic lovers of Venus and Mars, that also tells me that you get the chance to be able to really look at life in a new way that is sexy, it's fun, it's connecting, it's sensual, and because Mars is in Scorpio and Venus in Capricorn, this is something that maybe you and a beloved get to talk about, bigger picture, longer term. Some of it may be behind the scenes, and you get to work through building what you consider to be your future that benefits both of you together. All right, Aquarius, I really hope that this helps. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Come find me at jamiedawn.com. I look forward to hearing how the month goes. Take care.